evening. This net serves for training and practice in image transmission modes and meets Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. on the N6NA repeater on 441.30 megahertz. River City ARCS members and all licensed radio amateurs are welcome to participate. If you wish to join the net or need to make a call at any time, please announce your call sign between transmissions and net control will acknowledge you. If an emergency should arise and you need the repeater, please contact net control by saying break, break. A double break signifies emergency traffic. The net will stand by for you until the emergency is terminated or the traffic is moved to another frequency. Stations who wish to check in are asked to respond with their full call sign using the recognized ITU phonetic alphabet and their name. I'll recognize each station before continuing. Any station who wishes to check into the net, please come now.
November 6 Yankee Golf, N6YG, George and Lincoln on the HT.
Good evening, George, N6YG. Who else wants to check in tonight? Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas, George. So far it's you, me, and Carol. Anybody else want to check into slow scan television tonight? All right, this is James, Alpha Echo 6, Juliet Golf, net control for the River City ARCS Slow Scan TV Net. And George, N6YG, are you going to transmit with your HT?
Actually, I'm just getting ready to go into the shop here and set up. So hopefully I can get my station set up in time to send a picture tonight. I just got dropped off. My son was up at his house for Christmas. We just got home. So go ahead and send it over to Carol or somebody else. You guys send a picture and I will maybe get set up in time.
All right. KP4MD, are you there? All right, go ahead.
Okay, this is going to be, I'm sorry, it's going to be PD120, PD120.
KP4MD AE6JG. Well, that's a fun image. I can't tell if it's real or not. You'll have to explain that to us. I have a lot of horizontal pixel pops throughout the top two-thirds of the image. Nothing from pause at Beale interrupting it, just lots of pixel pops throughout, but it's a really fun picture. George, if you're ready to comment, N6YG. He may be setting up. We don't have our usual gang here tonight due to the holiday, but let me check. Anybody else want to join us tonight on Slow Scan TV? This is James at AE6JG Net Control tonight. George, I hear you. Stand by just a second. Anybody else want to join the River City Arcs Slow Scan TV tonight? All right, N6YG, go ahead. You were scratchy.
I was just checking to see if I was making it in. I finally got into the shop. I'm on the big radio, so maybe I can get set up here in a minute. N6YG.
Copy. Are you able to see KP4MD's image?
No, not yet. I just set up.
Copy that. Okay, Carol, tell us about this image. Is this a picture you took over in on Greenback Road?
No, definitely not. This is an AI-generated image, and I'm sorry I did not raise. I usually raise my power when I send out pictures, but I was sending that at 5 watts. Usually, when I send it at 10 watts, there's a lot less pixel pops. But it's a image of a pair of reindeer pulling Santa Claus in a sleigh, and he's got a bunch of radios and antennas sticking out of the back of the sleigh. And of course, this is absolutely impractical. It's quite an exaggeration of of radios, but it's kind of a humorous picture, and it's the quickest thing I could set up here since I just ran over here from 10 meters and didn't have anything prepared. Back over to you, A6JG's KP4MD, over.
Copy. Thanks, Carol. While we're waiting for George, I'll go ahead and send an image. This will be PD120. right. Let me see if George was able to copy that N6YG.
As a matter of fact, I think I got about half of it. I see what looks like a, is that an helicraft? Let me enlarge this picture a little bit. It looks like an helicraft sitting, can't tell if that's a table or the bottom of a bucket. And an antenna and a battery pack and headphones, and so someone's working portable or outside. So yeah, I think I caught about just a little over a third of that image. I got set up just in time.
All right. Of the third you got, what's the quality?
Only a few pixel pops. It looks really good. It's a little fuzzy, but I just think that's SSTV, and I've got it blown up full screen. So, but the quality overall looks good. There's like one big red pixel pop right in the dimple on the VFO. That's about it.
Copy that. Thanks, George. Also, I want to acknowledge that we have Vinny observing us on YouTube Live. Good evening, Vinny. All right, Carol, KP4MD. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. Yeah, A6JG and the River City Arcs Slow Scan TV Net. This is Killer Papa 4 Mike Delta Carol, Citrus Heights. And I'm guessing that you took this picture when you were down in San Diego. I know you were down there recently. And it looks like your Helicraft KX2 with the AX1 antenna. And you got a lithium battery pack there and some headphones. And it's on top of, I don't know, some kind of a round table, perhaps. I see some, it looked like you're in a park, and I see some water in the distance there. It looks like you're right by the shore, and looks like a bridge. The only big bridge that I personally know in San Diego is a Coronado Bridge going over to Coronado, and I was wondering if you were anywhere near there at all. It would be really nice to know, but I guess there may be other bridges around there. But beautiful picture. I do see that one pixel pop that I had, maybe about a dozen pixel pops here. You can see them like over the water more and in the sky. But that one that George mentioned there on the dimple there in the VFO knob, I can see that one too. Nice bright red one there. So back to you. A6JGs, KP4MD, over.
Copy. Yeah, thanks, Carol. Yeah, we were in San Diego visiting our daughter last week. This was taken on Sunday. You're looking at Mission Bay, and that bridge is not the Coronado Bridge. It's one of the bridges that connects Mission Beach to Pacific Beach. And there's several bridges around there, and we're also by SeaWorld. We had a room that had a patio on the first floor that led right out to this grassy area, and I borrowed a table from the room and went outside with the KX3 and the AX1 with the 40-meter adapter and checked in Saturday. Oh, this was actually Saturday, not Sunday, because the VFO's on 7181. This is the day I checked in all the way to Sacramento with this little setup, which just amazed me. Bob, N6PGQ, could hear me, and I think someone else could hear me. Oh, Daryl in Woodland can hear me. KM6KFW could hear me as well on 12 or 15 watts, which is why I use the battery pack to try to bring it up a little bit. Anyway, any questions on that? And then I'll check for check-ins. Also, I want to welcome Stuart, N6DVM. Stuart, I think that's your call sign. N6DVM is live on YouTube, observing. And let me see, anybody want to check into the River City Arc Slow Scan TV Christmas and Hanukkah Slow Scan celebration? All right, hearing nothing. George, N6YG, go ahead.
All right, I think I have an image. I don't know if I can send, so let me see. tone?
Yeah, it was a strong, clear tone. Lots of station IDs going on. Okay, George, you started out rough. The tone, there was a shift in the tone at the very beginning, and it was a little bit staticky, but then that cleared up. But that is reflected at the top of the image with pixel pops throughout, and I'm trying to figure out what the heck this is. It looks like some medieval torture device. Carol, what do you think?
Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD. I'm going to guess it's some. It looks like some kind of rotor device as a place for a mast or a boom to go through to be rotated. I'm thinking this is some kind of an antenna rotor. Back to Nat, KP4MD.
N6YG. George, what are we looking at?
Yeah, I'm on battery power on the laptop, so it was probably some sort of power conservation thing that kicked on. Yeah, that's an azimuth elevation rotator. I have no idea if it's home brew or what it is, where it came from, but that's what it is. It's an azimuth and elevation rotator for amateur satellite use. And I've been around for a long time. I don't think I've ever seen this particular model, so I thought it was kind of cool when I ran across it.
That's really interesting. Thanks for sharing that, George. Carol, any questions about that?
No, but thank you for sharing that. I've never seen that model either. Over.
Thanks, Carol. So let me say welcome to Kayla, Kilo Alpha 6 Yankee Lima Alpha, who's also watching on YouTube. All right, well, there's just the three of us. Do you want to go another round? Carol, do you have another image you want to share?
Yes, but have you sent the picture yet? I'll send one after you. Over. You did. Sorry, you did. I'll go ahead and send one.
Oh, I misheard you. Yes, I can. I have one queued up as well. All right, I'll go ahead and send. This will be PD120 again. is James Alpha Echo 6 Juliet Golf, Net Control for the River City Amateur Radio Communications Society weekly slow scan TV net. Before we ask for comments on this image, is there anybody else out there that would like to join us? Nothing heard. George, N6YG, did you copy?
Yes. A lot of pixel pops in this particular image. And it's a riverboat, an old paddle wheeler. And very reminiscent of the Delta King. Or Delta Queen. So lots of pixel pops. You've got a good crosswind going. That is a very fun vessel to navigate with crosswind. Especially on a river, it's not too bad if you have current flowing. But if you're on a bay or something like that with very little current, that could be a fun vessel to navigate. I had a friend of mine that, well, you guys know, I did a lot of sailing over the years and so on, and a very good friend of mine that I grew up with, U.S. Coast Guard licensed captain. He did the Matthew McKinley out here for a few years, and I ran the River Otter Taxi Service. I was a captain aboard that, piloting it up and down the river, training new captains. Lots of fun. N6YG back to net.
I remember that, George. I didn't know that was you. That's really interesting. Carol, comments?
Yeah, this is KP4MD. Picture came through very well. I also, well, I have about a few dozen pixel pops. Mostly you can see in the sky, and very nice image. I wonder if this got down in San Diego, and if you actually rode in this thing or just happened to see it there and take this picture. And I remember seeing something on the internet about a paddle boat. I believe it was on the Mississippi that actually had steam engines and was running a calliope off the steam from the steam engine, which was kind of interesting. Actually, it was a YouTube video that actually had some music from the calliope. So back over to you, it's KP for MD.
Thanks, Carol. Yeah, this is a paddle wheeler in the bay that we were looking out at before, where I was showing the KX3. And I'm not sure where this came from, but it seems to be doing tours along Mission Bay. I don't see any smoke or steam coming out of the stack, so this may not be the one with the calliope. And of course, you know, in my old job, we would regulate all those engine emissions anyway. So, yeah, George, you're right. It was windy. You can see the way the American flag is blowing there. And I did watch them turn around, and clearly whoever the pilot was knew what they were doing, but it was sort of like watching a boat on ice skates kind of move on that water. And even just a little later, the water got really rough. So yeah, but it's like a local tour boat coming out of Pacific Beach or Mission Beach, I think. This is AE6JG. Let me check for any more check-ins.
I have an additional comment. We have a second.
Go ahead, George.
The interesting thing about these paddle wheelers is most of them have been retrofitted with stern drives. They don't actually run them. I mean, the paddle wheel still turns. Some of them is just due to the dynamics of the water freewheeling it. But most of them, when you see them out there, are no longer real paddle wheelers. They have stern drives on them for obvious reasons. They're much more maneuverable. But back in the day when these things were in use, those old steam engines, it was an extremely dangerous mode of transportation. Crack a history book, it's very interesting. These things would blow up all the time on the rivers. The poor maintenance, they had no regulation. The owners would just run them until with very little maintenance, till they blow up. And those big steam engines, the boilers and stuff needed regular maintenance. You really had to know what you're doing. They're running at a lot of high pressure, a lot of steam, and it was not uncommon on the river, killing everybody on board, drowning people. It was the safest mode of transportation back then. N6YG.
Well, I'm glad I just was standing on the grass. Thank you, George. That's interesting. All right, Carol, do you have another image queued up?
Yeah, actually, I do. And speaking of steamboats, when I lived in Omaha, there was a steamboat exhibit um, just about 20 miles or so north of Omaha on the Missouri River, at a place called DeSoto Bend. DeSoto Bend, DeSoto Bend. And there was a steamboat that went down. It might have been one of those accidents that exploded and the thing sank. And it was from before, I think it was from before the Civil War, where they were sending a bunch of provisions all the way up to Montana. And there were crates loaded with provisions that were very well preserved. And they're all now on exhibit there in the museum there at DeSoto Bend. It was really a very memorable experience for me to go and see that. So maybe I'll read a little bit more about the history, what happened to that steamboat. But this is going to go out PD 120, PD 120s, KP for MD.
KP4MD. That's a great image and in the holiday spirit. George, comments?
Is a radio Grinch. That's funny. I don't think I've seen this before. I learned something new. All the years that I've been in this hobby, I didn't know that they had a Santa net. So that would have been fun for the grandkids this year to see that. So hopefully I can do that next year for them. So picture came over good. Some pops. I'm dealing with pay pause tonight. Lots of pay pause noise. So that's probably my reception end of it. So yeah, we got the Grinch with headphones on, with a microphone and a very serious look on his face. N6YG.
Thanks, George. This is AE6JG. I have pixel pops throughout, but again, not bad. Similar to the first image you sent. I don't see a PayPause identifier in there, but George, you are scratchy, so definitely. And I think you're in you're out near Beale or closer to it than I am, so I'm not surprised you're getting some interference. But I really like this image, and it's quite appropriate. Thank you, Carol. George, N6YG, do you have another image to share?
How's my signal now?
Better.
I was on the horizontal. I just looked down at the switch and realized I was on the wrong antenna. So that explains the reception issue. So, and as a matter of fact, I think I do. I have it. It's not a great quality image, but I'm going to send it anyway. So here goes from November 6 Yankee Golf.
That's a really, really interesting photo, George. I think you're too young to be in that photo, but maybe not. Carol, comments?
Yeah, this is KP4MD. This looks like something that NASA would have done, like a lunar lander or something. I have no. It's really confusing. I'm not sure what this is. Back to you, KP. But the reception is good. Black and white picture. Just about half a dozen pixel pops I can see. Back to net. KP4MD.
Thanks, Carol. Yeah, I have almost no pixel pops, George. And yeah, it does look like the lunar lander. And I'm interested in the story behind this. AE6JG over to N6YG.
Yes, that is one of the lunar landers. I don't remember which one it is. It is. That's what it looked like before they put the heat shield on. Well, they got some of the heat shield on some of the components, but they don't have it on the major components yet. And it kind of gives you a better view of the scale of this thing. It doesn't look quite that big in some of the pictures until you get people standing around it, and then you realize, yeah, well, that was actually quite large. I have a lot of these old photographs that I'm a member of several groups that has shared them, and primarily because all the flat Earth and moon landing denialist stuff. So a resurgence of interest in it. So I thought this was a great picture. I've got several others. As it was being before they had put the mylar, the gold plated mylar captain. It wasn't captain. It wasn't mylar. It was captain. Well, mylar is a type of captain. Yeah, that was very interesting material. It was, I think, 7, 8 layers of different materials that they had put on it. So that was one of the things that the flat earthers love to do. They love to post close-up images of this aluminum foil-looking covered thing and say, you got to be a special kind of stupid to believe this thing flew through space. But anyhow, so that's what this picture is. N6YG.
And just to confirm, you are not in the image?
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's interesting, and thanks for sharing that. Carol or George, do you want to send any more images, or should we close the net?
Yeah, nothing more here. Thank you, and a very happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. Over.
Oh, thanks, Carol. George?
Actually, I have something I can send real quick. Let's see if I can get this actually moved over. I think. Oh, look at that. All right. I'm going to send this real quick.
Well, you were using MR90, so it's not quite the quality. It's something about an anniversary, second anniversary, or I'm having trouble reading it, but I see the images. It looks like something from a science fiction movie. I like the colors, but particularly around the bottom third, there's a big interruption in the image and a lot of pixel pops. Carol, go ahead.
Yeah. What I'm seeing, it says 22nd anniversary. There's a logo in the upper left-hand corner, which I'm not familiar with. The one in the upper right-hand corner looks like a diamond, similar to ARL, but probably of some foreign country that probably is responsible for putting up this satellite. It looks like a satellite picture because that band looks like Faraday fading down about three-quarters of the way down the picture. I don't recognize this at all, so I think George can tell us more about it. Back over to Net, KP4MD.
All right, thanks, Carol. George, what is this?
That was the anniversary for SaudiSat SO50, and that was an SSTV image transmitted on 437.650 FM from the RS-40S satellite. So basically a 440 SSTV image. Uniform Mike Kilo Alpha -1 is the satellite, or RS-40S, and it was for the 22nd anniversary of the SO50 satellite launch. So I just happened to catch that, and that was actually picked up on a loop antenna, or a halo, I think is more appropriate. So dual band. Well, I think it's just a 2-meter halo, but it tunes up on 440. So yeah, I just happened to catch that. I was very surprised that I was able to receive that. Normally, for 440, you really have to have a beam on it to get decent images on 440. But it came through relatively well. I think this was a fairly high-level pass, about 50-plus degrees. And yeah, just a little. I was starting to panic. I saw that. I could hear the satellite fading, and I was switching between antennas, going between the vertical and the horizontal, trying to figure out which one was better. So it got a little bit of fading in the beginning, a little fading in the end. And they were sending this Robot 36, so the image quality you're seeing is what I got. It's not the greatest image quality, but I received it. So that's the story there. RS-40S.
Thanks, George. Let me just make sure I understand. This is a Russian satellite transmitting a Saudi image?
Yeah, they were commemorating the 22nd anniversary of SO-50, the Saudi satellite. Yeah, and the Saudis have a very cozy relationship with Russia, so yeah, of course.
That's fascinating. And yeah, if it's Robot 36, that explains the quality of the image. Amazing that you got that with a halo antenna. Carol, any comments on that before we end the net?
Not at all. Just want to wish you a very good night and a very happy holiday. Thank you for excellent net. KP4MD clear.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks, George. And thanks to everybody who participated in tonight's SSTV Net. Thanks to everybody who watched us live on YouTube, Vinny and Kayla, and let's see, let's make sure I got everybody on the list. And Stuart, yeah, Vinny, Stuart, and Kayla. Thanks for joining us tonight on a holiday evening, and we hope to see everybody again next week at 9 p.m. Wednesday. The net is officially closed at 9:46 p.m. Pacific time. This is James, Alpha Echo 6, with Julia Golf, wishing all of you a good evening and hope you all had a good holiday. 7-3.
And I want to say hello to Kayla, by the way. I don't know if the link is up and running, KA6YLA. Glad you can join with us. N6YG, and thanks for running the net tonight, James.
Thanks, George.